On the night of February 25, 1991, in Dhahran, Saudi Arabia, a group of American soldiers were sleeping in their barracks. It was the height of the Gulf War. Outside, the sky was guarded by the most advanced defense system in the world, the MIM-104 Patriot missile battery. The Patriot was designed to be a shield. Its job was to track incoming Scud missiles, calculate their trajectory, and blast them out of the sky before they could touch the ground. At 8:40 p.m., an Iraqi SCUD missile appeared on the radar. The Patriot system saw it. It tracked it. But then, it did something impossible. It looked at the missile, calculated where it would be next, and aimed at empty air. The interceptor never fired. The Scud slammed directly into the barracks, killing 28 soldiers and injuring 98 others. It was the single deadliest attack on U.S. forces during the war, and it happened because of a fraction of a second. This is the story of the floating point error, the math mistake that cost 28 lives. The Patriot system used an internal clock to track time. It stored this time as an integer, counting in tenths of a second. But to do its complex trajectory calculations, it had to convert this integer into a floating point number. The system used a 24-bit register. This meant it could only store numbers with a certain amount of precision. When you try to store 1/10 in binary, you get an infinite repeating decimal, like trying to write 1/3 as 0.3333. You eventually have to chop it off. Every time the clock ticked, a tiny microscopic error was introduced, a fraction of a millionth of a second. For a few hours, this didn't matter. But the Patriot software was originally written in the 1970s for mobile systems that would be moved often and rebooted frequently. In the Gulf War, however, they left the systems running for days to defend fixed bases. The battery at Dhahran had been running continuously for 100 hours. Over 100 hours, those tiny microscopic errors added up. The internal clock had drifted by 0.34 seconds. In human terms, a third of a second is a blink, but for a Scud missile traveling at Mach 5, over 1,700 meters per second, a third of a second is an eternity. When the radar saw the Scud, it timestamped it. The computer then predicted where the missile would be in the next instant to guide the interceptor. But because its clock was wrong by 0.34 seconds, it looked in the wrong place. Specifically, it looked 570 meters away from where the missile actually was. The system found nothing in that empty patch of sky. It assumed the radar detection was a false alarm. It effectively deleted the missile from its memory and went back to sleep. Seconds later, the barracks were destroyed. The tragedy is that the Army knew about the bug. A patch had been written. A fix was on its way by air. It arrived at the base on February 26th, the very next morning. The Patriot missile failure is a brutal reminder of system drift. Code that works perfectly for 1 hour might become lethal after 100 hours. It teaches us that precision is not just a detail. It is the difference between a shield and a tombstone. Subscribe to the Silicon Archives. The compilation continues.